Oh, shit.
What's going on there?
Hi, everybody. Let's try that again. No sound, but at least no echo, right? So I'll come in and edit this out. And to everybody who's just showing up and wondering what's going on, just fast forward. Fast forward. So
You didn't miss much.
no, and it's not a massive delay. It's not, so this is not going to be repeating. Good morning, everybody. Here's Amos, here's Laura, here's Markus. We're here, and there's
Good morning. Good
there's a lot to
morning.
talk
Morning,
about.
America.
Good morning. Yeah. So la 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 la. Hi, Amma. You're being funny. Actually, this is a great way to start because it lends to my point. My point about there's a lot of stuff to talk about today. And hey, 25, 30 of you, that's great.
Wow.
The no sound entrance is going to really do well for us.
Yeah.
Boosting our ratings. Although I will say this, so I'm going to talk about a few things. Julian Assange on the cover because of what's going on. The United States of America is trying a publisher for espionage under the Espionage Act, which is bullshit because freedom of the press, and anybody who doesn't understand that really needs to look up the Constitution. It's really quite simple, and it doesn't really matter what you think of Julian Assange. It doesn't really matter what you think of the material that he released. It doesn't really matter what you think of him as a personal person. All that matters is he's a publisher. Period. The fucking end. And he should be protected. Period. The fucking end. But our government's being really scary. My understanding is that even Maddow is now jumping on it because she can go after Trump with this, right, Laura? You said that?
Yeah. That was my feeling is that the media is now understanding the threat that this places on journalists, and also because now there's a formal charge that comes ostensibly from Trump. Now that gives Rachel an excuse to say,
right,
bad, look what he did. But it isn't about face for a lot of people. You mentioned that you've been seeing it a lot as well. The people that are reporting Assange now, like, oh, okay.
Chris Hayes?
Yeah, first one.
Yeah,
it's like, wow.
I was really surprised at that. And then that's this article right here, Intercept. I was waiting for this. Everybody was waiting for who was going to speak up and what are they going to say. And so we have, Sanders, Warren. I expected Sanders, Warren, interesting. Wyden was not expecting Ron Wyden of Oregon, who is generally just a benign corporate Democrat. He doesn't do anything too malicious, but he certainly doesn't do anything progressive. He just takes money from the same people, and he takes corporate money. He's, Berkshire Hathaway, Nike, same friends. But I'm glad he made a pretty strong statement, and I didn't grab his statement, but what it says loudly is he says, this is not about Julian Assange. This is about the right of freedom of the press, the rights of ability of anybody to publish stuff. And our government is basically saying you published dirt on us, and now we're going to get you for it. That's all that's going on here. This is Daniel Ellsberg, Pentagon Papers, has said, yeah, he should be, completely covered. This is bullshit, right? They pressed espionage charges on Ellsberg as well. All right, they were so just it'll be interesting to see if the press does its job here, because I think the press is starting to realize, as Laura said, oh fuck, right? This is beyond what I'm paid six figures to do.
Right.
I'm paid six figures to spin a corporate narrative, but now they're coming after my ass.
Yeah.
I think that's what, right?
They're nervous, or there's a memo went out, where this is our official position. This is how we're going to take it. And you can take it this far, but no farther.
Yeah. And then
whereas we can take it all the way out.
We can. That's what independent media is for. This is out of The Onion, but I just thought it's so perfect. Media condemns Julian Assange for reckless exposure of how they could be spending their time. Actually reporting fucking journalism.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, there's a Shahid Buttar dank meme stash on Facebook, and there's also a template in there to make fun of Nancy Pelosi with it, or just to point, I would say make fun, but to point out the stark differences between Nancy Pelosi and her feelings about freedom of the press, which I Googled and found a big old 404. I couldn't find any fucking statements from Nancy Pelosi on Assange. I couldn't find any statements recently from Nancy Pelosi on Assange. I couldn't find a fucking tweet. I couldn't find anything.
No.
If you guys can find anything, let me know. But it was easy to find stuff from Shahid. I went to his website and he says, I had the I. It says, Shahid supports the voices of whistleblowers and seeks opportunities for their findings to inform Congress and the public. Boom, done. Hey, San Francisco, you got a choice. Somebody who actually believes in freedom of the press and the idea of saving the human species, or 404. I just saying. Lastly, and these are just the initial update. Then we're going to move into like Laura's got big topics. Amos has a plastics topics. Markus is going to talk about some crazy YouTubers in Germany. And then I'm going to wrap it up with the best story about grassroots democracy there is. Been trying to tweet about this, get other independent networks to care. And actually, I don't need them to. But I really would like to get this information out to other grassroots activists. So if you guys could help with that, that would be fantastic. You don't have to like me. You don't have to like the show. But you do have to like what they did in Oregon. In the SCC, because it was badass for democracy. Somehow we ended up with like 14,172 subscribers. That's the most we've ever had. So to all you new people who just watched us fuck up the entire intro of the show, this is how it goes. That's what this show is about. If you really want to get down on good politics and what's going on, there's double Laura. I can't put that there.
Yes, you can.
I could double. And that's Amos. If you really want to get down on, I'm just like all over the place today. Watch Larry Taylor's Progressive Oregon show on Sundays, because he's going to detail what actually went down at the Q2 SCC meeting. And if you're an Oregonian and a Democrat, you should really be paying attention to what Larry's doing there. He's been doing good work for 2 years. And it's about time that he gets recognized for the good work he's been doing there. It's not what we do here. We have fun here and we talk and we kind of therapize around the revolution and we discuss topics. But Larry's been focused on making change directly, and he has, with the help of the SCC. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that more as soon as I get double Laura off the screen. There we go. All right. So, all right. Thank you all for getting through that. And Markus, there's an example of time for me to shut the fuck up. See?
Yes.
And also get the cursor off your face. There you go.
Do I have a cursor on my face?
I do want to say about that 14,000, but we've been at 14,000 viewers though for some time.
No, 172 though is high. 172.
But yeah. But we've been at 14,100 something, for a while. And so that is, everybody check and make sure that you're still subscribed. As Jimmy Dore says at the end of his spiel, they subscribe viewers every day. There's no way when we get 25 new viewers in the last 28 days, we see that, constantly. So just check and make sure that you're subscribed.
Yeah, that's true. They do.
And ring the bell.
Yeah, ring the bell, get
Yeah,
notifications. And I know a lot of you don't get them already because I keep seeing people coming in saying, I didn't get notified. So it's shenanigans.
It is. All right. So Laura, I'm going to let you
Yes.
let's swap you back over here, and you can talk about the Burn app and everything going on, because there's still awesomeness happening there, right?
Yeah, there's been a lot of movement since the Burn app was announced in April, and they've been doing these webinar trainings, like John mentioned it before, and I took the webinar training last week. There were 600 people on my call that day. It was a record number for them, and it was the third one that week. And I think they're doing 2 or 3 each week, and they've started adding ones on the weekends. And you can all go to app.berniesanders.com to find the schedule to get involved. And then map.berniesanders.com is the sister site for this. And this is where people find and more importantly, sign up to host canvassing events. And right now they only really have the ability to they really are wanting you to do canvassing events. There's not a whole wide variety of different kind of things you can sign up for. Because it's the campaign, they have to be very careful about the types of things that they are advertising and promoting, and they have pretty strict guidelines. So when you do the training, you get invited into the Bernie Slack, which is a very official campaign Slack, which really just focuses on using the Burn app to canvass and hosting events, official events using their guidelines. And if there's not a whole lot of side conversation or people sharing all their different canvas flyers that they're making or memes or things like that. For that, there is another Slack that I want to let you know about. And John, if you go down to slide 9, I've got all 4 of them lined up.
Awesome.
That is, so the bottom one, connectwithbernie.slack.com. This is the more loosely organized volunteer app where people are sharing their flyers and their handouts and memes and tweets to share and stuff like that, things that the official campaign has to be careful about. So this is like the unofficial, second Slack, and it is easy to get into. I'm not going to post the invite here in the wild. If you are interested in being invited to it, please email us at info@appealmedia.org or message me on Twitter or something like that. But really, just send an email and I will get you connected. And the reason I say that is because on Twitter this week, I responded to someone who said, I volunteered with Bernie. Why haven't they reached out to me? And the point is that they have reached out to you. The Burn app is the way that the campaign is reaching out to you. And it's up to you now to step in and join up and take the trainings and engage. No one's going to be reaching out to you and saying, hey, can you do this? You need to get involved within the infrastructure to do that. Now, I invited a person to come in, and she came in, and when in less than a few hours, she was very confused. Just, I don't know how to use this app. This is confusing to me. I don't know what to do with all this stuff. Somebody made me use a spreadsheet. I don't know what a spreadsheet is. So there's two ways to get engaged, in the campaign. There's digitally, which is an amazing setup, but there's also, the boots on the ground, which someone like this person who doesn't know spreadsheets, maybe that's what she should do. So to that end, this week, I also went to my local Bernie Crat group, our Revolution affiliate, Santa Cruz for Bernie, and sat with about 24 other people who have many of them have been together since 2015. So this is a group that skews a little older, and they are really big on the tabling and the canvassing, and they've got it down to the system, and they've got the swag, and they've got the handouts and stuff like that. So definitely find out who your local Bernie organization is, because if you're not comfortable with the digital side of things, then the hands-on side of things in canvassing may be more your style. But don't diss one or the other, because they're both really important. And that's the kind of the takeaway. But if you go up to the dashboard, John?
Yes.
On side 8. So this is the coolest thing ever. This is the Connect with Bernie dashboard. It's at the top of the Connect with Bernie Slack. It's got a button for everything. Literally, if you want labels, if you want stickers, if you want to join the group, it's connects you with everything instantly. It's constantly updated. You can add the Bernie campaign calendar to your Google calendars. It will tell you when you'll get first when all the events are scheduled officially. So this is the type of thing that you can do digitally and share it out with your groups. It's a great bridge tool that you can send to people once you get involved there. So info at appealmedia.org, and I will connect you with the Connect with Bernie Slack. And but if you're still waiting to be reached out to, stop waiting and reach out, because it's on you.
Yeah, and let's clarify some of these places here. So because there are a lot of things, a lot of places going on. And Slack is not, so these addresses, you can't just go to the addresses and get in. No. All right, that's why Laura says invite. Those of you who are not familiar with Slack, it requires an invite. She's just giving you the addresses to tell you what they are. But one is somebody who's already in. Exactly.
People try and get in the back door, and it's like, it doesn't work. It's never working for me. This is an invitation thing. They don't want just anybody to be able to wander in.
Right.
Now, be a certain layer of vetting.
This dashboard, the Connect with Bernie dashboard, is this official Bernie material, or is this grassroots material?
Nope, this is the grassroots, from the grassroots site, and this is grassroots material. It is not to be said this is from the Bernie campaign. This is what the Bernie grassroots organization is creating for itself, which is what they count on us to do.
Right.
So you got to understand the fine line about what they can endorse and how to say this is official campaign material, and what people can do on their behalf.
Right. And so with that in mind, and I say this to a lot of Oregonians who I've talked to who seem upset at the idea of this grassroots messaging that isn't the Bernie messaging, is that the campaign wants us to do this. The campaign will separate itself legally, and has separated itself legally, from anything we put out there, all right? This was a lesson we didn't understand in 2016 as Bernie 2016 TV. They're like, we love you. We love your grassroots effort. We got to stay away from you. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's it. So we don't want to put down or get upset at grassroots effort. All right. I mean, if you see something that's obviously horribly wrong or making a false statement, you may want to go, that's not exactly what he says. But otherwise, they encourage this. Right? So if you would rather work with the real Bernie materials, you got to get into the real group and work with the real Bernie materials. And like Laura says, that in order to do that, listen, this is just like sales. What they have done is turn this into sales. They're brilliant. This is how you onboard Amway. This is how you onboard people to do multi-level marketing. And I know we don't like multi-level marketing, but when you want to onboard people to do it and train them to do it and grow an army of people to do it, this works because it's worked with millions of people in capitalism for years. All right. But you have to go through the initial hoop. If you're not willing to go through the webinar and get invited to the main Bernie campaign Slack, then they don't think you're worth having in there. You see what I'm saying? It's like you make the effort. Once you're in there, they won't leave you alone.
Very well moderated. Both of the Slacks are, by the way.
Yeah.
People are there. There are mods everywhere willing to answer your questions and let you know if something you post isn't right or accurate.
Yes.
And directing you to the appropriate places. And the people in the main Bernie thing it can be difficult to figure out the difference between the two. But that's why I'm here explaining.
Yeah, and thank you. And so, I mean, I'm excited about it. I haven't been active in there, and I've gotten texts, hey, John, you still able to do this and that? Yeah, I will. Yeah, I will. Yeah. Keep nudging me. That's okay, because that's their job. See, this is part of that. They need people. You might be trained to be someone who does nothing but nudge other people to do stuff. See what I'm saying? They have so much stuff going on here. Anyway, that's the breakdown. Thank you, Laura, for that.
Yes, you're quite welcome.
Yeah, it's good. Let's see if I can get everybody back on the right screens now. I'm doing terrible with my shots today. Bink, bink. We all in the right place? Nope. Double Lord.
Well, I did want to say the one other thing reminding everybody that the California Democratic Convention is going to be in town next weekend, and this is really important. This is probably going to be the largest group of presidential candidates that are going to be in one place in this cycle. Because once the events come, they're going to start dropping off like flies. But I think there's at least 20 presidential candidates expected to be there. So expect there's going to be a whole lot of stuff going on. Bernie is going to be doing a rally in San Jose, California next Saturday. And I'm pleased to say I'm going to be there with bells on. So that's going to be exciting. I'll try and capture a little bit of that. So yeah, it's important. We're electing our chair. Hopefully we'll be electing Kimberly Ellis properly this time. But there's bound to be lots of stuff. Shahid will be there in full regalia. Pat Cody is going to be there, a.k.a. Nate Sliver.
Regalia? What does that mean?
Just full. They're going to have a full, full booth and people and videos and He's awesome. Going to be very visible. That's the strategy. Is he's going to be there and be seen and meet people and get his message out. And hopefully we can connect him up with Pat to have a conversation that we could,
Yep. Well, I'm talking with Sierra on Wednesday about the gear so that he can do some videos and stuff because they're having problems coordinating with volunteers and stuff like that. So yeah. Oh,
very good.
Awesome.
So that's great. Next weekend.
Yeah, and we'll be doing something.
We'll do something. We're not sure, but I'm going to be out of pocket Saturday afternoon because I'm going to be with Bernie.
That's awesome. I hope you get some video or something.
It'll
be great. Thank you on that.
You're welcome.
Good. All right. Amos, you want to talk about plastics?
I will. But before that, I just wanted to refer to that. We did canvassing last week on a local fair, and we experimented with different opening lines, and some of them were falling flat. And finally, we arrived at one that really worked well. So if any of you are going to do like blind canvassing, what we did is approach people and say, are you ready for another 4 years of Trump? And of course, we were wearing Bernie Sanders shirts and stuff, and they looked confused, or some of them didn't.
That's nice.
It got their attention,
right?
And broke the ice. And then the follow-up question was, well, if not, are you ready to join Bernie Sanders in making sure that doesn't happen? And that starts the conversation. So
that's fantastic.
Good advice.
And battle tested, right? Because you guys were trying all sorts of lines.
Yes.
Right? So
exactly. This is the stuff that is great to share as people get out there.
That's brilliant. And honestly, that's the kind of stuff, all that kind of information is what you see in the main Bernie Slack constantly. All right. That's what's happening. Well done, Amos. That's great. I like those lines. Are you ready for another 4 years of Trump? That'd make anybody stop. Even if they were like, yeah.
Of course, there were people who said, "Oh yeah,"
right. And you're like,
but then you disengage immediately.
Why don't you go? Why? You don't ask them why. You don't even bother.
Oh well, some of them say what the media is doing to this poor president.
Oh yeah.
Stuff like that. So
poor Donnie.
Yeah.
Poor Donnie. Well, that's great. That's great, and. Glad to hear about that. I want to tell you guys one other thing before we go into your plastics, Amos, and that is that what you see in the Bernie Slack is a living machine. Okay, they have a data entry channel. Mm-hmm. There's at least 300 people in that channel. And the last
texting channel.
Yeah, it's
canvassing channel.
But what they're doing is processing data. So data comes from spreadsheets, comes from paper, whatever, and these people are taking that data, crunching this information, logging it into whatever systems it needs to be logged into. They're doing this cooperatively as a group, and they're just cracking out shit tons of fucking data, right? And they're all doing this for free. This is the kind of things, that the DNC would be paying some asshole at a consulting firm millions of fucking dollars to do. And now we've built a revolutionary group that's doing it cooperatively over the net. That's fucking powerful. That's huge. All right, and that's just one tiny, tiny example of the fucking machine that has been built. It's just, gets me pumped. Mm-hmm. It's like badass democracy. What, Dennis?
Well, the one thing I noticed that. Oh, I'm sorry, Dennis. Good.
Okay. The only thing I want to say is he woke up the giant. That's it.
Yeah, release the Kraken.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking A. We released the Kraken. You got it. Mm-hmm. I like it. All right. See, I could do that. We got rid of Marcus. There's Dennis, everybody. Mm-hmm. Being rather German right now.
Yeah.
I was not expected to be on screen, so that's why I lit up my cigarette and enjoying the whole conversation. So yeah.
But your ratings right there, baby. That's ratings. German pose, cigarette.
Look at that impressive beard.
Yeah. See. Everybody say hi to Amos. Or hi to Dennis. I get all your names mixed up. Jesus.
The one thing I wanted to say was that after being with a live group, I was very happy to get back in front of my computer. I was actually I'm a little more comfortable here than I am with especially a couple dozen people that I've never met before who all know each other well, and and nobody knew who I was, which is just fine.
No, you're right. Okay, I gotta get. Where's Amos? All right, no, you're right. I agree with you. I like the computer stuff better myself.
Yeah.
All right, Amos, take us away on plastics.
All right. Well, first of all, I'm going to talk about, I'm going to focus on plastics, but I wanted to review again the main problems that are facing us. So we discussed it before, but I put it all in a succinct slide, a couple of slides there. And so the main problems we're currently seeing is overfishing, which is the main reason why sea creatures are endangered. In addition to that, we have the carbon in the atmosphere, which is causing also global climate change, but is independent of that. And the oceans have absorbed a third of the carbon that we've emitted, but that has caused the oceans to raise their acidity, which is causing corals and death and stuff like that. It definitely affects the chemistry. Then we have the plastics, which is a huge problem. We talked about the garbage patches. The biggest one is the one in the Pacific, but there's several others around the world. And that is a huge problem because of the consumption of the microplastics and the problem that larger pieces of floating or submerged plastics are causing animals that are trying to eat it or not getting light or whatever, entangled in the nets. And then we have the global warming, which is the decrease of oxygen. So basically, it's by itself a huge problem for the oceans as well as to the rest of it. And finally, we have the fertilizer runoff, which is causing a problem because of these fertilizers are causing algae to bloom and bacteria to fester, and it's caused problems with absorbing oxygen in the ocean. There's 400 low oxygen zones that have been documented to date worldwide. And then we have the secondary problems. Those are more specific, more particular. The one is the sonar and seismic air gun blasts. So they're severely impacting creatures that are using vibration to navigate and so forth. Fish do, whales do, seals, and they get disoriented or deafened by those blasts. And the military is now fully allowed to use those blasts again under the Trump administration, and will definitely have an effect from that. There's also oil spills that cause, like as we've seen in the Gulf, it causes this thin film of oil on the bottom of the ocean, which chokes the bottom feeding life in the ocean, and it spreads out pretty wide. And finally, there is upcoming trends that are not even on right now a huge problem, but we know that to expect them. And one of them is the fact that the industrial revolution that we've seen on land is now starting to occur in the ocean, and the main aspect of that is ocean mining. It's also aqua farms, fishing, and that is by itself, if not done right, can be a huge potential problem for the environment. And consumption of fish, as we grow low on fish, actually the consumption is on an upward trend, and they were projecting 80% growth by 2050 when all fish are supposedly going to be extinct. So we're increasing consumption, especially of developing nations that are getting increasing life standard. So that's kind of like causing this clash. All right, so let's talk about what we can do, and that's just to make you a little bit more optimistic about this. And in terms of the plastics, so one of the things we have to do is clean up the oceans. And right now there's one major company that is attempting to clean up the ocean. They're testing and studying a new system. They call it System 001. And their goal is to be able to clear 50% of the Pacific garbage patch every 5 years. And they're approaching it in an engineering fashion. If you look at the image that's there, you can see that it's like a line of connected tubings that basically plastic that drifts towards gets sucked in and then pushed into a barge and collected there. And that's kind of like a large-scale approach, but it's not going into the depth. It just collects stuff pretty much on the surface. So that's something to look forward to, stuff like that. Secondly, we need to reduce the production of these damaging plastics. Right now, they're not being recycled even properly, and mostly they're like the reason is that each different plastic cannot be recycled in the same manner. As a result, China has dropped out of recycling. We used to simply collect them in warehouses, and I don't know, at some point they won't even do that anymore. So we need, first of all, to have plastics that are better recycled. And there's a new category of these plastics that basically works with building blocks that can be extracted not via heat, but via acid. So they can completely recycle all the plastic and leave all the paint and fiber and whatever it is that helps create a particular application of plastic. They can extract it out and then completely reuse. So that's one thing. That doesn't resolve the issue of plastics, though. Just makes it more recyclable. The other encouraging thing is the creation of new forms of plastic. Some of them are bioplastics. They're made out of genetic materials such as leaves, bark, cellulose. And one of these firms that is doing it is called Zeoform in Australia. And they produce a material that's moldable and can be generated in very similar ways to other plastics, and painted, stained, whatever. And they have quite an incredible type of product lines. But of course, the major producers have to buy into that. There's another company in the US called Green Dot that also has some solutions. Not all of these plastics, some of them are based on lactic acid and so forth. Not all of these are bio plastics. Some of them are like just plastics that deteriorate, that decompose, but are not necessarily organic. And the advantage of organic bioplastics is that not only are they decomposable, but also they are not based on extracted fossil fuels, which of course has its own damage that is involved in terms of extracting and producing those things. So if you have that video of one of the examples of that such material,
We're ready to go.
Good, great.
Here we go.
Zeoform has so many potential applications in its future. We're actually at the beginning of a new industry. Years ago, we didn't have aluminium, and aluminium was the rarest thing on the planet. And then one day we learned how to separate it from bauxite in an efficient way, and now it's so much everywhere that we throw hundreds of thousands of tons of it away every day. Zeoform has more potential applications than aluminium, and an enormous amount of potential stock everywhere. It's a game-changing technology.
I do see possibilities for our material to replace plastics, especially if they're used in structural applications.
With a material as versatile as Zeoform, which can be as light as styrofoam or as dense as ebony and a lot in between, it's very difficult for people to focus in on what exactly is it and what do I do with it. When we say you can replace plastic, you can replace wood and wood composites, you can replace fiberglass in these applications, but it's so broad, what we're presenting really does leave many people confounded.
These nano microfibrillated celluloses are, in technical terms, high-grade materials. So you would use them in structural applications. So where do you need something lightweight, strong? Like, you would go more in that kind of direction. Furniture, automotive, consumer goods, fashion goods, even kitchen, storage, building also. Casing, let's say electronic casing.
We've used Zeoform to make a whole range of things, from light fittings to furniture to musical instruments, key fobs, general homewares, ornaments, vases, lots of small, cool artisan kind of ornaments and things. The applications for it are endless. It can go inside cars and aeroplanes. It can be utilised in technology, the cases for phones and computers. Food storage is another area where we've got strong interest from people wanting to keep their organic foods in natural containers, not in plastic or whatever else is leaching into their foods. The construction industry is always seeking more sustainable, cheaper, better materials, and Zeoform ticks lots of boxes for them.
One of my favorite kind of applications is the coffin, because there you need, let's say in many countries, a biodegradable product, and it has to burn easily. So
coffins. That's brilliant. I like this stuff.
Yeah, and the thing is, most of our problem is right now with packaging, and that's one thing that they still have to solve. Those materials are not great with moisture and humidity, and of course they're working on that. So we'll see where it goes, but it's encouraging that these things are being developed. We just have to push for companies to continue adopting them, and I think there's some signs that the industry is prepared to start doing that. Even Walmart has now announced that they're looking at their packaging and will require their vendors to change their packaging to be more sustainable.
Wow, that's awesome. I like that stuff. That's cool. It came out quite some time ago, so it's been around a while.
Yes, yeah, but the pressure is building. We need to replace those materials, and we don't have a choice. So that's going to become more impactful. I am working currently on creating a whole episode that will discuss everything about the oceans. Problems, and I'll post it on my channel, the Progressive Update. When it's done, I'll let you guys know. And one more thing, there's a conference in New Jersey. The first, I spoke with the organizer. It's called Zero Waste East, and they're going to have this conference in Newark. They're hoping to have industry as well as policymakers present and be involved and raise the awareness and discussion. So that's another thing. If you want to look it up, it's on Facebook. You can check Zero Waste East.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Amos. It's a good report.
Yeah, and the chair, to be honest, it was pretty cool, right? Mm-hmm. The red one. Wow, the design is great.
I'd love to have one.
It was very Euro.
There you go.
It's very Euro. Marcus.
John.
You're next.
Speaking of very Euro.
And hi, everybody in the audience. We got more than 50. What'd you think of that report? I was trying to get everybody back on camera. And I fucked it up already. There we go. Everybody but Dennis. I got to put Dennis in a shot somewhere for this. But nice if you all.
You can drop me out. I don't need to be here.
You don't want to be here? Fine.
Well, no.
All right.
You're going to talk Euro. You don't need me.
All right. Well, Marcus, you get it started, and I'll put Dennis in. You're going to talk about some pretty crazy shit that also is tied to independent media, everybody, because it's been a big week for independent media, like doing things, even though we've got the United States government clamping down on Assange. So take it away, Marcus, and I'll put Dennis in the shot eventually.
All right. Okay. Well, we are going back to Germany, and in the past week there was a big surprise coming up, and the parties 1 week before the European elections, got surprised by this guy here. His name is Rezo, and he is 26 years old. He lives in Wuppertal, not very far from my place, and he came up with a video. Oh, I gotta mention before that this guy normally does influencing stuff. He calls himself an influencer, and he does funny stuff like presenting videos, doing funny stuff with other people, doing testing food, and just the influencer normal stuff. I usually don't care about. But then this video came up from him. It came up demonetized. He did not get any money out of it, and it was. The title was Die Zerstörung der CDU, the destruction of the CDU. The CDU, as you know, is a conservative party here, which is led by Angela Merkel. And this video he made there was 55 minutes long. And it was not only bashing completely the CDU, also the SPD and all the other parties, which did not get, for example, what the climate catastrophe means we are confronted with. He addresses a couple of topics there, and I think the most impressive topic in what he presented was when he addresses climate change, and this is which he later in the video says clearly. This is the point where he suggests clearly to vote not for those parties. He suggests to his viewers, which are about 700. not to vote for the CDU, for the SPD, for the FDP, and of course not for the right-wingers, for the AfD. And this is very influential for those parties, as you know, 1 week before the German elections, and they got in a panic mode, and they addressed this young YouTuber, as we know this already from what happened in America, very arrogant, and they accused him to be not precise in what he is talking about, and this is. Or they completely talk about him that he is completely wrong in what he's talking about, and well, they got their pants down, and the echo is very large, and he has about 10 million clicks right now, and those politicians who addressed to Rezo came up very arrogant, as I said, and they told him he's not a journalist. And this is exactly what we know what happened in America also, when guys came up like Jimmy Dore, and we know what his past is or what he's doing. He's working in bars, telling jokes and presenting stuff which is important and which, in my opinion, are real news and which is important for the people to know. And the same thing happened to him, that he is accused of not being journalistic precise, and he is no journalist. In our case, there are voters. There are a lot of young voters who are completely fed up with the conservative parties anyway. And this would lead, I think in the future, we will see this on Sunday after the elections, what the ages of the voters concern. What did they vote? And I'm pretty sure that the conservative parties or the established parties will suffer big time. And yeah, I'm curious what's going on in the future there, because they are connected also with the Friday for Future movement, and the young people are getting into politics here in Germany again. I think this is quite impressive in the end, and we will see where it leads. Here is one quote, for example. This is the successor of Angela Merkel, for example. This is Mrs. Annegret Kramp-Karrenbauer, and she says, and this is very funny, as a response to him, to Rezo, I asked myself why we weren't, for that matter, responsible for the 7 plagues in ancient Egypt. Well, it was, in the first place, it was 10 plagues and not 7. And it shows exactly the way those politicians address young people. Yes, and well, they discredit themselves in the attempt to answer those young people who are using social media. We see the same helplessness in the US. When they get to learn by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez how to work with Twitter, with Instagram, and so on, right? And this is the same reaction. Those people have absolutely no clue what they're talking about. And Rezo in his video shows it up. And if you understand German, and the video is below the video, there you see a link, and there he lists all the sources, all links to the sources. This takes 13 pages of sources. He put so much energy, so much time in it, and I think this should be valued by politicians and not discredited by them. And this is, I hope that he goes on with this. I think it is important, and it makes already bigger waves here to finish this. Meanwhile, another video came up from 90 other influencers, which also have a big fan base here, which declare to be solidaric with him, and also suggest their followership not to vote those mentioned parties. And I think this is quite nice. And there we got another quote. Another CDU guy, yeah, he came up with that Rezo is not working as a journalist, and this is completely stupid. And this is a narrative we already learned from the US. So, yeah, this is our silly report from Germany. There is one little thing coming, you know. There's one cream on the cake, and this is coming from the AfD, from the alternative. Oh, I'm sorry. There's another thing. The CDU announced, as a response to Rezo's video, to produce an own video with their big megastar, their silver bullet, and this is Philipp Amthor, and they wanted to put him against Rezo. And I think if you only see his outward appearance, he is, I think, he's not quite finding the peer group. They are not sharing the same peer group as I guess. And fortunately, the CDU did not do this, because this would be so tragic for this young politician. It would be a complete failure. The interesting part to come back to finish this segment is talk about the AfD and what their chairwoman of the party says. This is Beatrix von Storch, von Storch. And
whatever.
It's bad when the German can't even pronounce the German's name. Shit.
Yeah. Because this is a German thing. I got Strolch in my name always when I see it. This is something translated like scoundrel. And anyway, this woman is the vice chair of the party, and well, she talks about climate change. And look, there are nice views of the reporter who cannot get what she's talking about. And this is very funny. And if you can roll it, John, please.
Sure.
Aber wie hältst du es denn mit dem menschengemachten Klimawandel? Gibt es den? Hat der Mensch Schuld daran, dass sich das Klima jetzt so krass ändert?
Ich denke nicht, aber ich denke, diejenigen, die wollen, dass wir nochmal unser gesamtes Leben umkrempeln und dass wir den CO2-Ausstoß im Prinzip beenden, die müssen uns beweisen, dass das so ist. Und die müssen uns beweisen, dass der Klimawandel nichts mit der Sonnenenergie und der Sonnenintensität zu tun hat, sondern mit unserem Atmen und mit unserem Verbrennen von Kohle und sonst was. Und wenn die uns den Beweis erbracht haben, dann können wir darüber reden, aber nicht umgekehrt.
Aber wir machen ja so viel Waldrodung und wir zerstören so viele Pflanzen auf der Welt, dass das ganze CO2 halt irgendwo in der Luft bleibt und dadurch
In erster Linie
unsere Welt wärmer wird.
Ja, in erster Linie wird das CO2 ja im Wasser gebunden und das hängt von der Temperatur der Ozeane irgendwie ab, wie viel CO2 die speichern. Und ich glaube, man sollte mal darüber nachdenken, ob die Temperatur der Ozeane möglicherweise was mit der Temperatur der Sonne oder mit der Aktivität der Sonne zusammenhängt. Vielleicht gibt es da einen Zusammenhang und vielleicht ist alles genau andersrum.
Die Temperatur der Ozeane mit der Temperatur der Sonne?
Ja, wenn die Sonne besonders heiß ist, dann mag das ja auch einen Einfluss auf die Wassertemperatur haben.
Das ist am See auch so.
Korrekt, genau. Und je wärmer der See ist, desto weniger CO2 kann er speichern und desto kälter der See ist, desto mehr CO2 kann er speichern. Also wenn die Sonne ganz doll strahlt, könnte es ja sein, dass die Ozeane ganz warm werden und ganz viel CO2 abgeben.
Ein Grund mehr, dass das nicht so schnell passieren soll.
Ja, dann sollten wir bei der Sonne erklären, dass sie nicht so viel scheinen soll zum Beispiel. Das wäre doch mal eine Überlegung, weil die Sonne ja den Einfluss dann auf die Ozeane hat und nicht wir auf die Ozeane, sondern die Sonne. Der Ozean wird ja nicht warm, weil wir sagen, Ozean wird mal warm oder kalt.
Also verklagen wir die Sonne.
Wir sollten die Sonne verklagen. Können wir uns darauf einigen?
I know a lot of people want to send blankets or...
Yes. This is our AfD. This is our alternative for Germany. And I said it last week. If this is our alternative, then shoot me, right? With those idiots, those blockheads. Dennis, what do you want to say?
Two things about Mrs. von Storch. She worked for 20 years at Goldman Sachs. She doesn't, as you guys see, she doesn't believe it in climate change. I probably think they're getting paid from the fossil fuel industry and so on. This is the same shit we like in America. And the third thing, as a millennial, referring to the Rezo thing, is they are fucking afraid of the sleeping giant in our youth, because we in Europe, especially we young people, are told, yeah, you are useless, you don't know what to do, and so on, so on, so. And there comes a video like this, and yeah, they're afraid. Tomorrow are the European elections, and I know what I will vote for.
Yeah, I can imagine. I disagree that the AfD is paid by the fossil fuel industry. It is clearly a political tactical thing here, because every other party in Germany is or pretends to be on the side of those who oppose the climate crisis, and the AfD is thinking, okay, we will go over and take over this field by declaring, no, we all doubt this. We are the climate crisis deniers, and this is our political tactic. You know, this is the only point behind it, in my opinion.
Yeah, okay.
can I just, Brahm has I love this. How did this happen in Germany? Did she not go to school or something?
as I said, I mean, in general, as I see this woman, she is in general ignorant and, well, she's in the AfD, that says it all. But I don't think that she is silly. I think it's a clear political tactic. And the question is, in how far after the summer, how many people would still believe her?
Well, I was trying to follow her logic. I'm like, well, even if it is the sun, even if we go with your theory that it's just the sun, it's still causing problems. Will she admit, just, it's like, I want to get all these people fine. You don't think man's causing it, but do you admit we have some problems that we have to address with the climate, or no? No?
Take it up with the sun. It's the sun's problem.
Sue the sun.
And I think a few years ago, the interview would have been finished directly after the first question, when she says, give me the proof. Everyone would have said a couple of years ago, okay, thank you, bye-bye.
Right. And then she offers her gut feeling on it, which is great.
Yeah.
Her and Trump share gut feelings.
Yeah, and she spreads her bullshit, right?
Yeah. We have a living brain donor. Abby Normal. Anybody get that reference? Nobody gets that reference.
But we have a worldwide move
Good got the
regarding...
reference.
Young Frankenstein for the win.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, that's horrifying and depressing.
Yeah.
And I agree with your kid that we should not vote for any of the party. There's a satire party in Germany. Everybody.
Oh yes, and I will vote
Markus.
for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not? I mean, so just asking the two of you. I mean, obviously the satire party, whatever. But if you were going to choose a party as German voters, what would you choose these days?
Okay.
I can answer this in two ways.
Yeah.
I'm part of the left, Die Linke.
Okay.
It's the only real socialist lefty party left in Germany, and I'm voting for them because I'm a part of them. And for Europe, I will vote for Yanis Varoufakis, who was the finance minister in Greece and has now started with Bernie and other global leaders a movement against the right-wing rise around the world. And here in Europe, he has organized a Trans-Europe organization where they run several candidates in several European countries. So Varoufakis runs in Germany, so I will vote for him.
Wow. Okay. I didn't even know that.
Nearly the same as Dennis said. I will vote, of course, for the party, Martin Sonneborn, and yes, of course, Varoufakis.
You're gonna. All right. Wait a minute. So you're voting for your guy for your party for president of, or no, not president, but for whatever Angela Merkel is doing right now. Is that what you're doing?
Cancel.
No.
Dennis.
No, Markus.
Varoufakis is running for European Council, so
Right. Okay.
so that he's the head of it. Yeah.
Okay. And who and what is your Die Partei guy running for, Markus?
Die Partei is running for a seat in the parliament, in the European Parliament, together with his co-op.
Parliament. Okay. I misunderstood. So okay, I understand. And you're gonna you vote for that person. But who? So Die Linke, do you support? Is that what you said? Die Link? Die Linke.
Yeah, Die Linke, the left.
And Markus, do you agree with Dennis that this is the most? Is it the progressives in Germany?
I would say.
Let me say it like this: they should be. In my opinion, they are not. There are too many different wings, too many different. There is no strategy. There is no effort. They could be very big on the climate crisis, because I don't think that the Green Party is anymore that the strong power behind it anymore.
Really?
They could be so big with it, with all the topics which are important. They are not, and this says it all. There are too many inner party quarrels and stuff, and this is not the way I regret this.
Die
I would like
sounds
to
like
vote for them.
Rokana's Twitter. I'm just gonna say it's. Laura's not
What?
there. I have a whole story about Rokana's Twitter and that kind of
Yes, yeah.
ridiculous. But Dennis, Markus, thank you for that. It's interesting. I mean, just
Thank you.
This is incredible. Listen to everybody. I mean, we're talking about got this political revolution going on in the United States, and it's crazy, and there's a lot of shit going on. But we've been talking for a while. I've been praising Germany and look, Germany's great. Look at all their shit. Even with their shit being better, okay, and their shit is better. Their country's got better things for their people, just in general. They are still, I mean, look at what they're practicing democracy. They got all sorts of shit going on. They got, there's a YouTuber causing things. They are taking on the establishment as well, because even with a better democracy, the establishment still controls Germany. Right, guys?
Yep.
Yes.
So,
period.
It's a global problem.
I don't know if you guys were paying attention, but to what happened in India this week. But that's another blow. I think on the whole, worldwide, we're not doing very well. The Congress party that I was so optimistic about, that incorporated some really green policies in their platform, has been crushed by Modi.
I saw, and I don't know why. I mean, there's a lot of right wing winning, and we're like, why? Why is this happening? It's weird. Yeah, I saw that. My own area. Thank you, Dennis and Marcus, for that report. That was great. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So everybody, we've reached a point in the show where you should probably go. Now I'm going to talk about some grassroots stuff that happened here in Oregon. It's not important. Nobody else in independent media is going to give a shit. And so don't bother watching this segment. Everything else that we covered was fantastic. It's great. It's the Great Saturday Show. We're at 11 on the dot. So it'd be a perfect time for us to end. And I should just stop. But I just want to talk about this. But really, don't pay attention. Don't listen. Don't tweet any of the other independent media networks about it or anything like that. Just, you got it, right? So, hang on a second. What is this? Oh, right, the Doritos bags. I forgot about that. That's hilarious. Good checking it. I'm just going to read this as soon as I get the slide set up correctly. I'm just going to put it on screen and read it for you, because this is what happened. All right. This weekend, the Democratic Party of Oregon engaged in democracy. I want to thank every member of the State Central Committee for being there. I want to praise Valdez Bravo, Albert Lee, Sean Nickus, Sarah Spansil, Carrie Capon, Carol Scherer, Lawrence David Taylor, and everybody that used Robert's Rules and parliamentary procedure to be the authority the SCC is supposed to be. The result is a healthier and more functional democratic body, a more informed electorate, a closer connection to each other through adversity and discussion, a better understanding of the rules in action. This is what democracy looks like. The decisions made are not as important as the fact that democracy worked at the DPO Q2 SCC meeting in Prineville, Oregon. That gives me hope. Thank you all. That's it. I mean, democracy worked. Now I'm going to explain. I'm going to give a brief of what that all means. Larry Taylor tomorrow on the Progressive Oregon show at 10 is going to go through the details of what went down. All right. The specifics, the decisions that were made at the State Central Committee meeting this last weekend are not as important as the fact that less than 10 people, 10 progressives, 10 people that understood Robert's Rules, right, went into different meetings at different times this weekend, stood up, used Robert's Rules to guide democracy, to practice good democracy. The decisions were the decisions, and they needed to be made, and they were good decisions. But they never would have happened had people not stood up and said, I move, I make a motion, I do what I'm supposed to fucking do as a member of the SCC body. I stand up and I say, we need to talk about this. And that is what these people did. And it is amazing. It is amazing. Now, this was the email I received from Larry because I was waiting, biting nails. And I pushed out a very angry video on Friday saying the State Central Committee better fucking do something. They better stand up and fucking do something. And I just want to say they did. It only took less than 10 people to stand up and do something to effect massive good change in the Democratic Party of Oregon. Good change. Right? So they censured the chair. They censured the chair because the chair was acting like an asshole and out of line. and being rude and a bully. And none of these things are going to be said in the official censure because that was part of the agreement. They basically slapped the chair with the weakest of weakest things. It's not even a wrist slap with a full hand. It's like a finger. Oh, you bet. That's what it was. They agreed not to list the reasons that she was being censured. Right? That's the next level up. We're going to tell you why. No, we're just going to publicly say you were. There should be an article in the Oregonian coming out about this. Right? But the fact that they censored the chair is not what's important. What's important is that Valdez Bravo, all right, Valdez Bravo, first vice chair, former first vice chair, was one of the people that stood up to make it happen. And Albert Lee, who Larry has interviewed on the show, and he's running against Earl Blumenauer in 2020, all right, he stood up to do it. That's what it takes to practice good democracy. You recognize something's wrong. It's uncomfortable to have to do it, but you stand up and you say, hey, we got to talk about this. All right. The majority voted to censor the chair. And it was a good thing. So here's just a rundown. Valdez Bravo and Albert Lee they basically made a move to censor the chair and explain why, and there was a lot of reasons why. Larry will go over the details tomorrow. The chair can't preside over her own censure, so they had to bring in the new first vice chair to do the presiding. He'd never done any of that before. So they all had to learn together how to do this, which meant he had to rely on the parliamentarian. Thank God they had a good parliamentarian there, because they asked the parliamentarian about a lot of the rules because they realized, we're going to have to follow the rules here because we're calling the chair out for not following the rules. So we better learn how to fucking follow the rules. And if you watch the video that Larry put up, and he put up a bunch of raw video that he recorded on Uphill Media, and I got to go through it and find edits, and the audio is a little sketchy. But if you click into any of it, what you'll see is not an Aaron Sorkin scripted, beautiful display of fucking democracy like you'd get on West Wing. What you see is actually more gorgeous. It's human beings struggling with working together and trying to figure shit out. You see people shaking their heads. You see people raising their hands going, I couldn't hear, I don't understand, or how come we did this? You see Pete Lee going, wait, no. You see the struggle of human beings figuring their shit out. And that's what needs to happen for a strong Central Committee body, is they need to work together through this stupid bullshit so that democracy can flow. And they did. They did. That's what's so fucking gorgeous. They ran out of time because they did. They literally ran out of time. They spent so much time dealing with all this stuff, learning how to do democracy, that at the end of the Sunday afternoon, they had not even addressed the agenda. They hadn't even gotten to actually what they were supposed to talk about. And so, like, the icing on the cake, and I'm not even covering most of what happened. There's a big story here. Okay, there's a big story here, and I'm putting together that big story. But Sean Nickus said, hey guys, we didn't accomplish what we needed to accomplish here, so I make the motion that we not adjourn or adjourn. I can't remember the actual phrase. But basically he said, we're going to put this whole fucking meeting on pause, which means we have 30 days to reconvene and do what we were supposed to do in the first place. I don't know that that's ever happened. I don't know that a lot of these motions have ever happened in the DPO. But it's so inspiring to see that less than 10 people can read the rules, learn the rules, use the rules, and have democracy work better. Because by the end of the day, the chair who had accepted censure, and think about that, you're a newly elected chair, you fuck up big time. People do that all the time. The reason we have democracy the way it is because when you put somebody in a position of power, they have a tendency to want to use that power. And that's just human nature. That doesn't mean it's okay. That means we're supposed to fucking check that power. You know, it's go, oh, that's the chair, that's what they do. No, that's why you come in and check that power, right? But by the end of the Sunday, the chair was running a good meeting. Democracy was happening. She wasn't interjecting personal opinion. She was facilitating the discussion that the State Central Committee body gets to have, because the State Central Committee body is the authority of the Democratic Party of Oregon. And this last weekend, they asserted their authority. They understood how to wield it because For the last 2 years, Larry Taylor and the volunteers on the Progressive Oregon show have been teaching the SCC how to use the rules. And I'm not saying that it's because of Larry and the Progressive Oregon show and the Robert's Rules series that he did and all the 2020 planning that we did and the engaging with the admin for the last 2 years, being shit on by other people in the party saying, oh, Larry, stop it. You're being contentious. You're creating problems. You're doing this. You're doing that. I'm not saying it's just because of that effort. But if we hadn't made that effort, this last weekend would not have happened. So the real lesson here, a small indie media network produced shows that informed the electorate. The target audience was Oregon Dems. More specifically, the target audience was about 300 of them on the SCC, the State Central Committee, to teach them that they are the power. SCC members used their knowledge, whether they gained the knowledge from Larry or elsewhere, they used it, all right, to affect change in the DPO. They did not take power from the top. They used the power they already have because they are the fucking top. And they told the chair where she belongs. All right? You're a fucking facilitator, not a ruler. Right? And everybody has to agree to that. You have to move on and then agree. The entire SCC is a better functioning democratic body because of these efforts. This took 2 years. 2 years. And Larry and our effort here was a piece, a cog in the entire effort. Because we also moved people into the Senate. We voted progressives into the Senate, and that Senate has been kicking ass and taking fucking names. 2 years, though. It took us 2 years because when the midterms happened, we were depressed. Things were not good, and I was very sad. And when we elected the new chair, I was not happy. The whole election of the process of the DPO group was terrible, and I was very unhappy. And this is brilliant. So I'm just telling you, congratulations to Oregon SCC. Congratulations to Larry Taylor and everybody that worked with him to do this. Congratulations to everybody in the Oregon Democratic Party that recognized that you hold the power in the party. Now, don't lose that feeling. Please don't lose that feeling. We got to keep that going. All right. So that's it. I want to show you this, though. If you haven't seen it, go take a look at what's going on with the Senate. This is just some. Senate passes bill to keep guns from stalkers and abusers. Senate okays ban on polystyrene restaurant food containers. Senate approves cut to public employee retirement benefits, which is a bad way to say it, but basically they had to fix PERS. They had to fix their retirement benefits program because it was all fucked up and it didn't have money and it wasn't going to be solvent and whatnot. So they had to make some tough decisions. And that's the point of the article, is that they all sat down, Republicans and Democrats in Senate, and went, shit. We're going to have to fix this, and not everybody's going to be happy with the fix, but we got to fix it. We got to stop dicking around. And that's what I see Senate doing is, okay, we can't just put shit, we can't give it to Ginny and have her hide it anymore. We have to move. And so thank you, Senate, and thank you, progressives who came into Senate, who lit a fire under Pete and Ginny to start getting shit going. The Oregon Democratic Party is now healthier and seems to be more functional. And all I can say is, if you don't think a little tiny independent media network that barely gets enough views can't make a change, you just got to understand what its audience is. And I love everybody here. I loved our whole audience because you guys kept this functioning, and we have more donors from anywhere else but Oregon. Oregon is the least of our views. Oregon is the least of our donations. So thank you all. You made this change in Oregon happen. Now, if you want to do that in your own state, let us know. Because we know how. We know exactly how.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it also shows, in my opinion, first of all, thank you for this great report. And
thanks, Marcus.
Yeah,
I don't have you on camera.
I'm also thrilled about this, and I will visit you in the future. And I will see myself what's going on there. Anyway, but I think it is important what you said. I think once they know they have the power in their hands, I don't think that they give it away again. You know, now they taste it. They got something really, really worthful in their hands, and yeah, I hope the best for Oregon.
I do too. I'm excited about it. Thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you all for listening to that. All right. I'm going to cut this segment out or whatever, but Larry's going to go over all the details tomorrow. There's a lot. There's a lot of parts to this that you don't even know. There's some funny parts to it, some interesting parts. We have a lot of video that's very interesting. Some people ragging on Larry that you wouldn't expect. The whole
John
thing,
wants to make it into a movie, you guys.
it's worth a fucking movie. It's if you start from the beginning of creating the Progressive Oregon show and moving through everything, there's enough material in there to make a beautiful script out of it. And
You
it's
figured out the cast and everything. It's awesome.
it's the Bad News Bears version of Knockdown House. Is what it would be. It would be because that's what it
Okay,
is.
I'm curious how it would look like.
And thank you all for I see your great comments in chat, and I appreciate you listening to the story. I want to make something clear though, to anybody with the SCC or anybody in the DPO that's watching this or coming, if you've managed to stay here this long, which is surprising. This wasn't about Larry. Okay, this isn't about the censorship. This isn't about grudges or anything like that. This is just about working together for good democracy. And it was tough. It was difficult and uncomfortable. But that's democracy. That's human beings. Right? So I just thank you all. And I hope I'm sure there's butt hurt around. Everybody gets butt hurt. But, you should get over yourselves and we'll just move on. And at the next SCC meeting, it's going to be a whole new thing. Right? It's going to be easier. So that was really cool. I'm hopeful with that. So it's really good.
Yeah.
How long did that take? 15 minutes. That's not bad.
It's perfect.
Last week we're on to last week here. All right, let me get you set up, Laura. Thank you all for being here. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Let's see, where are you? Over here. Laptop. Think. Bam. There we go.
Yay.
Last week on UHM.
That was a big one. We had our first presidential candidate interview.
We did.
So, with Mike Gravel and Shahid Buttar. It was a little bit hit and miss there for a while, logistics wise, but we got everybody in there and talked for an hour and 20 minutes. And how many views does that have now? More than 420?
A whole 500 now. We're up to 500 views of that.
Anyway, but John, you really led that. What was your big takeaway from that interview?
A couple things. Given what's going on with Assange right now, I'm impressed with Gravel in that sense, and I had no idea what happened with the Pentagon Papers. But I think my overall take is I'm really disappointed in America and America's government for being remarkably hypocritical. Yeah, that's my big take. America's incredibly fucking hypocritical when it comes to journalists and the narrative that mainstream media helped spin about Assange is now fucking them in the ass. That's my takeaway.
Yeah. Well, it was a good comparison about what it was like in the early 70s versus what it's like now. And in some ways, everything's the same. In other ways, it was quite a different environment for journalists.
Yeah. So. I also think Gravel's totally right about direct democracy, although I disagree with the idea of needing to keep capitalism or that we can keep capitalism. But it's like, I don't know how long. I don't know that we're going to get to direct democracy in time. I think we got to focus on climate change. That's that's the chicken before the egg, because he's like, you're not going to get climate change without direct democracy, right? And it's like, fuck. It's one of those catch-22s, right? It feels like it anyway. Laura, your take?
I just thought it was amazing the energy that he has for the topic, to talk to him, especially talking about his campaign. I'm not sure that that he's going to make it in time to be in the debates, but I think we talked about this. I don't think he'll get enough donors. I don't think he's reached the 65,000 level, nor the polling numbers. But you and I talked about this the other day. He's already making the impact that we want him to make on the debates by getting a massive following and really pushing his message out and without fear. And that was he's like that. He doesn't give any fucks. He's going to say exactly what's on his mind, and that was cool to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to put him and Shahid together, kind of the old guard and the new guard, was interesting as well.
Yeah.
It really was. Marcus, you want to say something?
And-
You're Yang.
Yeah, I liked the interview, and I liked them both together. And yeah, finally you all said it, and I liked his ringtone.
I forgot about that.
The good, the bad, and the ugly was awesome at that moment.
Yes.
I forgot.
He did have all his phones on, so it was.
My favorite comment in the chat on that was, "Holy shit, a landline!"
Yes.
Yeah, yes.
Exactly. We found one, and there's your demographic for one right there.
Yeah.
But I did find out that Mike Gravel actually lives quite close to me, about 20 minutes away. So if we ever need a in-person interview, I bet I can get an invitation.
So cool. Dennis and I will pay him a visit when we're there.
Yeah, that'll be fun because you guys. Yeah, that'll be great. Hi, everybody in chat. I just noticed a lot of people talking. Hi, Karen Mitchell and Mark Burns and Bram in there, Melissa H. Just you guys are having a great discussion. Hey, Cheese, how you doing? Schultze. Well, yeah.
Oh, Schultze said, hey, he liked the Gravel interview.
Good.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm around. Thank you. Julia.
We should all donate to their campaign. So Gravel and Inslee too. They've reached a number of donations, but like myself, I donated $1 each. But the obstacle is now getting to 65,000, which is not a really high threshold. But we should probably try and help them get there so that they can debate.
Agreed. I'd love to get him. Yeah, but it's. I mean, I'm glad you clarified that. So is it really? It's the number of people that have donated, not donations, right? So
Individual donations.
Okay.
Individual donors.
Donors. Okay, so they need 65,000 peoples. Okay.
Yeah, he's not on any. There's an official list of who's up right now for the debates that are going to be in a month or so.
All right. All right. Well, if you haven't, $1, whatever you can.
Yeah.
I did 420 because I think they have more 420 donors than any other number to Gravel. It's worth getting his voice on there. Same with Tulsi Gabbard. If I felt this network could really do anything to help Tulsi, we would.
Yeah.
She seems to be getting.
She has qualified for the debates though.
Oh,
so
good. Okay.
Yeah.
No, she was in.
Yeah. She made the cutoff there.
Excellent.
I imagine that they probably. It's interesting. There's a lot of discussion about on the of course completely random way they're going to be assigning the 2 nights of the debates because they're both they're not everybody's going to fit on one stage at this point. Seeing who they will pair up because I'm sure they're not going to have Bernie and Biden on the same night.
I don't know why they're doing it that way.
Sure.
What they should do is make it like a football game length and just have like East and West Coast stages or something and put half the politicians on one and do it like an US festival or the Live Aid. And they should really split it up.
It'll be very interesting to see how that works out. Like it's like arranging people at a very important dinner table.
Yeah, and where they got to give Beto somewhere to stand and something to stand on, a car or something.
Yeah, they'll probably have Bernie debating like Amy and Kristen and
are they gonna allow Beto? He drags down ratings. We drag down CNN ratings.
He would. It'll be. I bet you Bernie's going to be at the kids' table. Bet you.
That's where I always sat. Shit. All right. So tomorrow, like we said, Democracy at Work with Larry Taylor. Watch this. He's gonna detail what went down, and it's really important to know. And just congratulations to everybody that worked on that together. And then Laura's been like busting out the We the Peeps. So what's going on with this?
Like I do. Well, sometimes I just get on a roll, and it's amazing what you can do in a weekend if you really put your mind to it. So, and we've got several returning people. Our next few We the Peeps this week will be interviewing Angelica Duenas. She's running for District 29 in California. The interesting thing about Angelica is last time she ran as a Green, and this time she's running as a Dem.
I did not realize that.
I did not realize that either. And then I was looking at all her. I went back and looked at her our last interview with her, and it was all about being Green. And then I was looking at her recent stuff and realizing she doesn't say Green Party anywhere. And dug a little deeper, and she's I think that she thinks that she could have maybe a little more reach this time. So it'll be interesting to see and talk to her about that and about her her decision to do that and what's new in her district. So we didn't talk to her with the people. I had her on Progressive California, specifically talking about immigration issues. So I'm sure we will touch on that as well.
Awesome. And then we have
a couple more coming up. Our next one after that is Anthony Clark, who's running for District 7 in Illinois. And we interviewed him last time.
Yeah.
He's terrific. And he's running again. And then Rick Shepard, who's, I believe he is Nevada District 2. Hold on, let me just double check.
Yep.
I'm glad Rick's running again. So many returns.
Yeah, so these are all returns. We've got some new ones coming in. I've got Audrey Denny now lined up. She's California District 1, and she's good friends with David Hildebrand and is quite progressive. So she's lined up. And a couple of new faces that we will roll out as we get their cards made and everything. But yeah, we're booked. We're booking into July now. So if you know a progressive candidate, I just found a great list, by the way, in Twitter that I'm going to go through. That I found a couple names on. But info@uphillmedia.org. Let us know who you'd like to see on the show.
Yeah.
Give us their contact information.
Glad they're reaching out. And hey, Steve Collins, thank you for sharing, bringing us people. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Oz and Steve have been two people who've been bird dogging for us. And so you can bird dog too.
That's great. And I'm just going to share this here, everybody. This is the Saturday show. Otherwise I wouldn't. But this is what happens when you're creative, has too much time on his hands. So could I just combine people so I could just give you one card? And we got this. I don't even know who the girl is.
This is Peter Khalil, who's going to be in July, and I think that's Audrey Denny's hair superimposed. And that was our graphic designer, Ash, being cheeky, saying, can't I just combine them? Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be okay with one card. Easier for me. Wouldn't help the candidate much, but that's funny.
No. Anyway.
All right, and then merch. You're wearing another Bernie merch. What do you got here?
Actually, this is my original Bernie 2016 shirt that I got at the Bernie rally in San Francisco in 2016. Yeah. And I just thought I thought I would just get a little official here with my
there you go.
Bernie wear today.
That's nice. But these
we have our Bernie merch. And here I'll put a link to that in chat. If you want a Bernie shirt, Bernie mug, Bernie doggy bandana.
There you go.
Go to our stuff.
Uphillmedia.org.
Uphill Media. In fact, I will
there and
drop
you
the
can
link.
donate money. You can do these things. You can buy merch. We do have our merch up there, and you can also get a lot of. So there's grassroots material for Bernie too. If you don't like our stuff, there's all sorts of different stuff. There's official stuff. There's non-official stuff. There's stuff all over the place to download and print. There in the main. Slack, there's stencils and just anything you need creative arts wise you can get. It's just amazing, whether you want for digital or for canvassing, on the ground. It's just amazing. I think we got it figured out this time. I really do. It's been awesome. All right, we're into the shortcuts. We're almost out of here, everybody. We'll get out of here by 11:30. I promise. We're just gonna hit a couple real quick things. Direct democracy, which is just the idea that we get to the point where we can all just cast a vote because we really don't need representatives, or just the idea that we tell our representatives literally what to do directly and they fucking do it, right? Instead of giving them the option of thinking on their own. It's really not okay. This is Ro Khanna's Twitter. There's weird stuff going on in the DMs with that. And I just want to say, regardless of what's going on in Ro Khanna's Twitter and the people that are running it and the DM groups they're trying to create and the centrist messages that he's putting out occasionally, which is why some people are irritated with Ro Khanna. The fact that we're talking with whoever's running Ro Khanna's Twitter and they're getting feedback like mine about the centrist messages, and the fact that I'm getting robo responses, because this response that I've got here from Ro is the same response that Ash got from Ro on a different DM. So what that tells me overall is that our government, at least our younger members of government, ones that are more familiar with the internet and understand how to use it, are okay with practicing democracy this way. This is direct democracy, right? Like, it doesn't matter that I'm actually reaching Ro. He's not the one typing this shit to me. The message is coming through. And Ro's had to create messaging to respond to this because, I'm not the only person who said, hey, dude, that last tweet was about as centrist as fuck, right? Don't don't use the word whataboutism and tell me that I can't look at my own country and their actions when I have to focus on Putin and his actions. Bullshit, man. That's bullshit. That's weak. Now, understand that part of that democracy also means that I'm not against Roe. I like Ro Khanna. I'm glad he's in office. And I'm glad he's doing what he does because he is a progressive. But it also means that when he tweets centrist shit, I'm going to give him shit about it. Dude, knock it off with your centrist bullshit. Right? And that's democracy. Mm-hmm. That's it. That's how it works. We're upgrading it to the 21st century, okay? But that's how it works, and it's supposed to be that way. Now, you can be more polite to Roe or less polite to Roe. I have my own abrasive nature, right? But that's democracy. That's how it works. And Roe's people are going to take this content back like, dude, you're getting your ass cleaned on that last tweet. We shouldn't say that anymore, right? That's going to affect the narrative.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a beautiful thing. I just want to, and to Roe and Roe's team and whatnot. Look, we're all in this together, and I know that you, in the end, want the human species to survive. So great, but I am still going to call out your centrist bullshit.
Mm-hmm. I posted that tweet that you're commenting on there because it was, I just said something like, "It's Roe is problematic."
Yeah.
And I posted that in the Connect with Bernie Slack, and I got a mixed bag. I said, some people said, yeah, he's got to choose a side. And some people saying, oh, well, no, he's defending him. And it's a mixed bag, but he gets really rolled on Twitter whenever he puts one of those pro-Hillary tweets, or this particular one was the Russia, going on about Russia.
Yeah.
Stop it, stop it.
and bipolar Roe.
Bipo Roe. Oh, I like that joke.
At least with his Twitter account. I mean, yeah. But see, in the end, his votes are good. You know, like in the end, his vote record is pretty fucking great, and that's what we're looking at here. But he needs this push. That's our job. This is our job, right? To make sure Rose stays on the right side, the left side.
He says he's got his own constituency to represent. Well, it's like, don't represent us, because he's local Bay Area guy. Don't represent us with Russia.
Right.
Represent us with stuff that we actually care about.
Who are you representing with Russia? That's what I want to know. Like, who do you consider those constituents? But overall, it's just cool. It's good. This discourse in social media is good, whether it's happening out in the open on, and he's getting his tweets ratioed, or whether it's happening in a DM, right? This is all good. I'm glad it's happening. That's just the point of that. Roe pushing nuclear war. No. Just like everybody thinks Elizabeth Warren's greenwashing the military complex is a good idea, right? Come on, Liz. Do better. Do fucking better. Anyway, I love this little piece. This is another piece, just real quick, about scientists and why Bill Nye is such a badass, and why we have a need for people like Bill Nye, okay? Because Bill Nye isn't a scientist who sits on some scientific board with some, hoity-toity scientist who's doing these deep, long research papers that has to be all careful about what he says. Bill Nye is a mechanical engineer, which is fucking badass, okay? But what that means is that he's got a little more freedom to just be blunt. Scientists, even Jim Hansen, even the big, Hansen, the guys who like do the big reports, they have an unfortunate way of being science about it. And they have to, because that's what scientists do. They're like, well, the latest data shows that it's the greatest possibility above the 96th percentile that within 100 years, climate change will have changed the oceans by a variable of at least 2 to 3 degrees Celsius. And that possibly means that we'll possibly have oceans that are possibly this high, and it's possibly the end of the possible human species. Scientists do that. They dilute the message to the point where most human beings are like, is that bad? Do I have to worry? Right? Bill Nye just comes out and says it. We don't have 50 to 75 years. Stop talking about these 100-year plans. Anybody thinking about 2050 is stupid. 2100 is remarkably stupid. Okay? We got 10 to 15 years before catastrophic end of fucking humanity climate change starts wiping us out. And in my view, it's happening right now. It's happening right now to the poor. Millions of human beings have already been displaced because of the climate emergency. But when you look at scientific papers, they don't report it that way. Well, by some stupid number far away, there's a percentile of things. But it's like, that doesn't make people get up and go, fuck. That doesn't make you panic. Bill Nye makes you panic. And Bill Nye's right. And so I want to commend Bill Nye because he's caught a lot of shit from people in the scientific community. And I just want to say, hey, scientists, you're the ones that fucked up because you were not bold enough. You minced words. You tried to be too exact. So thank you, Bill Nye, for just fucking laying it down. 10 to 15 years. And that's giving a lot, in my view. And here, let me show you why. Another report on information that is not within the IPCC's latest data. Okay? A quarter of the West Arctic ice is now unstable. 400 feet of it. That directly affects ocean levels. Absolutely does. Okay. When? I don't know. But to not be panicked about it is stupid. And not you guys, we all know this, right? But we have to reach the people that are still talking like Joe Biden, like we have a middle ground to reach. Like getting green by 2050 is good. That's not good. That's too late. Green by 2040 is too late. Any number is too late. We're too late. We're already too late. We're too late. 20 years ago it was too late, right? All we're doing now is preparing the largest fucking piece of gauze we can think of. It's literally like, how big is this going to need to be? Because the bleed out is going to fucking suck. That's where we're at. So anyway, kudos to him. I just want to, and shit sucks in terms of climate. That's really what that point was. To bring it to a low to end the show, which I always do. That's my goal. Right?
You do it so well.
I do. Yeah. I do. We bring you up, we bring you down. It's just like a drug.
It's a roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
You've got a little chaser. You've got a little chaser though, don't you? There's one more thing.
What do I?
Doritos.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, a little levity. Let's have a little. We're all gonna die levity.
Yeah.
Hang on. I forgot about this. I did forget about this. The creative expression on the web has been outstanding, right? I mean, memes. If we didn't have memes, I don't know how we would have gotten through elections. And I love this one. This is Donald Trump has bags of Doritos, a thread. Please read it. It's heartwarming. Look at it. So here we've got Trump as nacho cheese. There's orange. He's got the tie matching. Right.
Nice.
Here's the yellow.
Oh.
These all work. They really do work. Here's pink. Right.
Wow.
Okay. There's Cool Ranch, everybody. Who's Cool Ranch? I'm Cool Ranch.
Come on, this.
Wow. Kind of spicy, whatever. Yeah, I mean, there's a purple. This one's the best, though. I mean,
yeah.
Jalapeno. That's so. I think what they're trying to show here, ever so subtly, is we know where he gets his fashion choices.
There you go.
I like this color, jalapeno. I want this green. Give me a tie in this color and another bag.
Oh, God. That's hilarious.
I think there's much more deeper behind it. If Robert Anton Wilson was still alive, he would add this to his conspiracy theories. Definitely. It might be a hidden message somewhere, you know. Maybe an incident. Who is the puppet master behind Trump? Right?
Could be. So, what would the new book be? Doritos Rising? Is that the?
Yeah. Well, not to mention their skin color matches his.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. It's
yes, exactly. Yeah. And it's yeah.
I read a great New York Magazine article this week about how Trump staff dreads traveling overseas with Trump because all he wants to do on the TV is watch TV on the plane the whole time and get mad at it. And then he gets overseas and then he can't get all his regular TV programs and he gets upset about that. And then he doesn't like the food. And so they have to give him special food. And he hates those big, any visit that's not focused on him. Like if it's one of those like big G7 things where there's lots of other leaders, doesn't like other leaders there because it's not all about him. He likes things where he's the guest of honor. It was just hilarious. I'll drop a link. This is a hilarious article. I just thought
That's
it was
fucking hilarious. So Trump's nickname should be Veruca Salt. He's like every kid that went to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and Bernie's Charlie.
Yeah.
Right? He's like fucking insolent little fucking child.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
What's it here? Here's just a bit from it, just because this is hilarious. It says, Trump will spend hours reviewing cable news coverage recorded on a TiVo-like device, or sifting through. This is when he's flying with his staff, or sifting through boxes of newspapers and magazines that they have lugged aboard, which actually kind of surprised me. I didn't think he read much.
Yeah.
They'll summon sleeping staffers to his office at moments. At moments, the rest of the plane is dark, impatient to discuss his upcoming meetings. And if he sees something mad, he instructs his staff to go fix it. If he sees something mad on TV, he says, "Go tell them they can't," or whatever. It was just kind of disturbing.
Who says he reads those magazines? He looks.
I know. Yeah, pictures. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
What magazines were they? Anyway. So sorry to derail, but that was
no.
funny.
It's just part of reminding us that, it doesn't really. We're trying, right? Hope isn't about knowing that we're gonna succeed. Hope is knowing that it's worth doing, regardless of success. And we have a responsibility to this planet and everything that's on it. Even though human beings probably don't have a chance in hell. Because we have somebody like Trump and people that support somebody like Trump in office, we still have to try, right? So, thank you all for being here and trying with me, and all of you in the audience for trying, because that's what we're doing. And what else are we gonna do?
Right.
What else are we gonna do? Capitalism isn't all that fun by itself.
No.
So, Dennis, thank you. I don't have you on cam. I don't know where you went. I can see your ceiling. There you are.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
He's again.
I'm charging my mobile phone. That's why I'm not in the frame. So
That's all right. It's
Yeah.
good to hear your voice.
Man,
Have you
along
here.
the cord.
Good to hear. Everybody out there, thank you all so much.
Okay. What's the song?
Oh, the song is Star Sailor, Break the Cycle, which is, it's got some good words. We're going to look at good words by Star Sailor. James Walsh is he's the singer-songwriter and guitarist for Star Sailor. And this whole album, All This Life, which I've been bugging Laura to actually listen to in its entirety, is a phenomenal album. And I really think what he's done here is weave personal stories, because there was 8 years between the last album and this new one. He's weaved personal stories about problems. He went through a marriage, a breakup, and all these things, but he weaved those issues and the sadness with global problems, with climate change, with humanity. So you listen to the words, and the words are like, oh, he sounds like he's talking about a love, and this, oh no, he's talking about us and humanity. It's a really great blending, and this song I think is one of those, and the lyrics are just profound, and I'm going to put them up on screen, and we're going to look at them, but we need to break the cycle. We've been in a cycle as a civilization, as a species, for thousands of years. And we need to break that cycle if we're going to do more than just be enslaved, really, and fight each other and destroy shit. Seems to be most of what we do. So we're at that turning point. I feel like we're at that turning point, like that something's going to snap. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just human beings are at the turning point of their existence. We either do it or we don't. Right? I hope we do. I hope we break the cycle. So that's it. Thanks for being here, everybody. Please share.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
bye bye.
Running out of war to fight. we can afford is to rip up all our plans and live our lives. She's coming out of lift. She's coming out of lift tonight. You will be the last. Cut me like you do when we hide. If we break the cycle, then we break the chain. Too much sun, not enough rain. Found somebody, I don't have to explain myself. Running out of words, I'm running out of words to write. There's too much joy and pain to run out on our name and leave behind.